Hello and welcome to Thrive Talk, where we explore the secrets of living a kick-butt life. I'm Gary Schreiner, and today our guest is Abe Mills. Welcome, Abe.
Hey, thanks a lot, Gary.
It's great to have you on.
Good to be on. Thank you.
Awesome. Now, Abe may be most widely known for his work with the musical group Jericho Road. Fantastic work. He's now, I love it. And is now a coach, consultant, and speaker, if I'm getting that right, with Partners in Leadership. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Sweet. All right. So, when I was looking at doing this interview with you and thinking about, okay, what are all the things I could ask Abe about? Because you've had some varied experiences with your musical career, with business, and I'm like, all right, there's just too much stuff. But I may have narrowed it down. So to start with, maybe you could share with us a little bit about kind of your journey through, after college, going through the career with Jericho Road. I understand you've started some different businesses along the way and done different things, and now to where you're at here with your career with Partners in Leadership. So maybe you could give us the Reader's Digest version. And
you bet. Well, so I didn't get into music. I mean, I always liked music, but I didn't get into it like as far as singing until I was 19. Most of the time, when you hear about people singing and playing instruments and whatnot, they get into it at a really young age. While I was in third grade choir, and I did play in the band for a few years there. Played the trumpet, but I didn't get into singing in terms of just really, really wanting to pursue it until I was about 19 years old. And so, I served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and then, on my mission is when I really, really, really started taking interest there. When I got back and went to BYU, one of the guys that I knew from my mission called me up and said, "Hey, we need to get together and start singing." And so, started a group. We did some, put together a lot of songs and did some firesides and things like that. Another guy called me from my mission that I knew from my mission, said, "Hey, we got this other group." And so that other group was winding down. I got into a different group. It was an a cappella group at BYU, and at that time, a cappella, the scene was like crazy. A couple years earlier than that, Vocal Point had just started, and it was just all the rage. And they were kind of on their second, I think, phase of guys. Some of the originals had just left and had formed a group called Extempo. And so anyway, got involved in the a cappella scene, and that kind of really just took off my interest in music, and ultimately joined Young Ambassadors at BYU, met some guys there. And one of the cool things in Young Ambassadors that we learned was, about using music as an opportunity to kind of start a conversation about the gospel, and, using it to share positive, uplifting messages. And so that's what we learned from that. And as we started a group, we were into our group doing a lot of a cappella things and whatnot, and just decided, hey, you know what, we want to do something positive. We want to do it uplifting. We want to share some music that will appeal to a lot of people and yet share a positive message. We need to decide that before we really pursue anything. And as we decided that, we had been kind of fiddling around for about a year, and we decided that, and 2 weeks later we got a call from Tyler Castleton, who was the A&R guy at Shadow Mountain Records. And he said, "Hey, we want to meet. We've heard your demo CD." Wow. So anyway, that's kind of how that whole thing got started. And we sat down with Tyler and started, just mapping out, hey, this is how we want to do it. And they said, we'd want to try record maybe 2 or 3 songs and see how it works. And they received a lot of great feedback about those 3 songs. And then we did a CD and toured with Michael McLean's Forgotten Carols, if you've ever heard of that before.
Absolutely.
We went through your neck of the woods up there. Some of our first shows that we did with that were up in Idaho Falls, and And Michael McLean, who is anybody that knows him knows he's a consummate professional. He is he's very good at what he does because he cares about people, and he basically took us under his wing and said, this is how you do this. And we just kind of listened to everything he said and put that into practice the best that we could. And we had about a 14, 15-year career doing that.
That's awesome. Yeah. So sounds like a lot of things just happened really quick and just kind of fell together in ways you didn't necessarily expect they were going to. Is that?
So the short-term story is that things happen really quickly. I think if you took every guy in the group and you were to trace it back, I think what you'd find is that there's usually there's a lot of experiences that lead to other experiences that lead to other experiences that then is where it happens. And you find that with all kinds of groups where you go, man, these guys came on the scene and they're blowing it up. But then you look back and they've been together for 6-7 years doing things, or individually trying to make it. And so in our situation, I was at BYU. I started BYU in 1990. I finished BYU in 2000. So in some ways, there's two reasons why I think I was there that long. One of them was so that I could meet the guys to start Jericho Road. The other one was so that I could meet my wife. So those are the two reasons. But that 10-year road was not a short road. But ultimately, once we were together and we decided that what we wanted to do with the group, that's when I feel like it did take off. And we were very fortunate. We were able to get a lot of backing from Shadow Mountain Records, and like I said, people like Michael McLean, Kenneth Cope, Sherry Dew helped us a lot when we first got started, and Tyler Castleton, who's a very well-known name in the industry, Laurel Christensen, who happens to be the person that's in charge of all product at Deseret Book now. She's basically Sherry Dew's right-hand woman there. So all those people were involved in helping us do what we did. Couldn't have done it without them.
Right. Yeah. So when I said it sounds like, people often forget that there's a backstory. There's a history before people get to where you see them and they emerge on the scene and you're aware of them and they seem like this. Maybe these overnight successes are never, they're always anything but, right? There's always been work and a lot of experiences and opportunities and things that came before. Yep.
And the other thing is that I believe there's always a supporting cast. And my wife, we've been married since before the group started. And so, I shouldn't say that. We've been married since before we got a contract with Deseret Book. So when we got married, at our reception that we held in Springville, Utah, the guys showed up and we sang a little song and whatnot. But from there, we went on to sign contracts and then start to do all that. And she's been through all that. So times when, every night I was gone rehearsing and, I was traveling for 2-3 weeks at a time, she had to deal with that with the kids. And so she's been like a stalwart through all of it and continues to be a stalwart in everything that I do now. But, a lot of those things never get mentioned. But yeah, not only is there a lot of hard work and a backstory, but there's also a supporting cast. And, in whatever we do, it's the backstory and the supporting cast that I believe make up the real story.
Perfect. Thank you. I think that's a good lesson also for whether that be in music, whether it be in business or anything else, that there's always that backstory. There's always that supporting cast. And we don't do it alone.
Definitely. Definitely not.
So let me ask you this, how have those experiences and that having that stellar supportive cast kind of shaped the direction that you have gone with your professional career now?
Yeah, great question. So one thing about music is that you don't make a lot of money doing music. I mean, there's a few that do, but music is about passion. And so, when you have a passion for something,
bursting some bubbles there.
Yeah, sorry for all of you who out there, Yeah, we drive an E350 2007 with 200,000 miles on it. So not living in the life of luxury. But I would say that, one of the things that I can always say is that, you know what, I got a chance to really pursue my passion. I was passionate about music. I was passionate about really the message that we were sharing, and being able to share something with people that I felt like was deeper than just something on the surface. And so really that in and of itself is what kept us going so long. I mean, there are several times where I'm sure that, you go on a trip and it gets to that point where it's like, wow, we're doing this again. We don't have a 4th of July. We don't have a New Year's Eve. A lot of those holidays you miss out on because that's when you're performing. And so, but you think in your mind, hey, this is worth something. Somebody's going to be touched by it. And so that's what we do. And so every other job that I had while I was doing that to support that, to subsidize that, basically, I was just trying to just find any kind of sales job to kind of keep that going. Now that I'm not doing that anymore, what it becomes is, I was looking for something that I could feel passionate about, or I was looking for a sales job. But what I really found out was that, man, I need to find something that I'm really passionate about, because I was not enjoying the work that I was doing. And so this Partners in Leadership, one of my good friends, Tanner Corbridge out of Atlanta, he had been working. Matter of fact, it's kind of interesting. The way I met Tanner was through Justin Smith, who is one of the band members of Jericho Road. So they were roommates, and so we all played on the same intramural football team at BYU and whatnot, and so became friends that way. About 5 years ago, Tanner introduced me to the Odds Principle, gave me a book, told me a little about what he was doing. I took an interest in what he was doing. I love working with people. I love that kind of atmosphere and what he was talking about, which is really facilitation and, having something that means something and is helping change people and helping people get better. And so ultimately, when the timing was right, a little over a year ago, I ended up being invited to come on and work with Partners in Leadership. And so what I found with Partners in Leadership is that, man, I'm doing some traveling again. So my wife again is on board with that. But what I'm doing is we're going and working with organizations, companies, nonprofit organizations, government organizations, and we are sharing really a message that really is focused on changing and getting the results that you need. But it's really based in accountability. It's based in culture. It's based in the things that we feel like not only help change and get the results that you're looking for in business, but also your personal life. And so that was something that it's done for me. It's just really changed my view of accountability and my role in accountability, to really internalize that need for change rather than externalize it. And so what I've kind of found is, man, I'm still basically doing what I was doing with Jericho Road. Is I am sharing a message that's upbeat, that's positive, that's helping change people, right? And I'm able to get paid to do it. So it's great.
That's awesome, the way that comes together. Thrive Talk and our parent website, ThriveBeat, is all about finding a way to thrive in life, and part of that is discovering your passion and being able to share it and live it. And so much is missing when you don't have that in your life. And so many people spend time in jobs where
Right.
it's not there, right? And they're just kind of surviving day to day. So when you can find that thing that you're passionate about and not only do it, but make a living doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. I have to look at myself every day and say, I am grateful for what I do. I'm grateful for my job, and really, just like you said, grateful for the life that I live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so often it seems like people measure success by the amount of money they make, by the amount of power or influence they have.
Yeah.
That's not what it's really all about, is it?
We've found in our industry, and again, we talk about this with people all the time. It's, people will work hard for money. They like money, that's sure, but they'll work even harder for a great leader, and we find that they'll work even hardest for a cause. And that's really what it is. It's what's the real compelling why behind what we do, why we do what we do. And if we can figure that out, then we can get passionate about it. It becomes more than just going to the job and, checking off the list that we have to do. It becomes living a life of passion around accomplishing something, because we now know what's the compelling why behind what we're doing.
Fabulous. Fabulous. So you're on the road again a little bit.
Yep.
And you have, once again, have that stellar support system behind you.
For sure.
That's great. So how has, I've got the sense that family is a really important part of your life.
Definitely.
How has your family been, an anchor for you as far as finding your success, finding happiness in life?
Yeah, wow, that's a great question. What I've found is that no matter what I do, no matter what I go out and accomplish, that really when I come home and my kids are here and we can spend time together, and I can go and I can support them in what they do and see and watch them grow and put time into them, that's where I feel the greatest joy. I mean, believe me, I enjoy what I do at work. I get a chance to go work with lots of different people, different parts of not only the country, but outside of the country as well. And it's great to see those things, but I never have more fun than when I'm on vacation with my kids, and my wife. And it's like, we went to the Florida Keys last weekend, and I had more fun in the Florida Keys last weekend with my family than I have anywhere else with anybody else. And so my family is the reason. I think it's the reason why I do what I do. When you think about the compelling why, you might say, well, I want to have a good job so I can do this, so I can do that. Well, then when you keep asking that question, why, you can really get down to, well, it's because of my family. I want to support them. I want to teach them how to grow into, responsible human beings, and give them opportunities to explore and experience the world. Not only the opportunities that I had, but opportunities that I didn't have when I was growing up. And so I think that's how they influence me, is that the real compelling why behind why I do what I do has to do with them.
Great. And that's I think a great lesson for our viewers as well, is to look at their own lives and not just do the superficial level of the why of, oh, I just want to make more money, I want to have a nice car, but dig deep.
Yeah.
And really discover in themselves what is it that drives their ability to succeed and be happy in life.
Definitely.
And it's not all about the money.
No, not at all. Well, and there's lots of
the money's nice, right?
Yeah, money's great because there's a lot of things that money can provide, but it's not about the money.
Yeah. The money supports those other things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, speaking of time with family, I understand you have kind of a family band. Is that right?
Yes, we do. Yeah, my kids are really into music. My oldest started out with the drums and just really enjoyed the drums. Wanted to be in the drum line. So I should say this. All of them started out on piano. My wife, I played the piano growing up. I took lessons. But my wife, she never took lessons, but she wanted all the kids to learn how to play piano. So she went and learned herself so that she could teach them lessons. So she was going through the lessons at the same time as the kids were. And now they've, at least 3 of them have now surpassed basically what she can even do, let alone what she taught them. But they took an interest in it and they really loved music. And so from piano to percussion to now guitar, violin, bass guitar, so they play all those things. And so we got into it where we said, hey, you guys want to perform? And so they said, yeah. So we said, okay, let's start putting in the time for it. And we started practicing, and they've had an opportunity to this point. This started at the end of last year, and they've performed at a couple of local restaurants. They performed at youth camps. They performed at a couple of nonprofit fundraisers. They've performed at, and actually won a couple of talent shows, talent competitions around here in the Orlando area, and got some scholarship money from that. And then and they've performed at, this is the craziest place. It's a place called the Beaver Bar, which is a biker bar in Ormond Beach, Florida.
Huh.
It's one of the more popular biker bars. They have Bike Week and Biketoberfest here, and they performed there and for a bunch of bikers. So, but they all loved it. The bikers loved it, and there's a guy there. His name is Anthony, and he runs a program called Kids Rock the Nation. When we first went there, we stepped on stage. We had a keyboard, a drummer, violinist, and a singer. And there's a guy standing there. He says, "Well," he says, "this is a pretty interesting." He says, "This might be the most interesting makeup of a band I've ever seen step on this stage." He says, but he says, "You know what? I really like it. There's something about it." And he said, "How come you guys don't have any guitars?" And we said, "We don't have guitars. They don't know how to play them." And so Kids Rock the Nation takes guitars and then gifts them to kids who don't and want to learn how to play. So they gave 3 guitars to 3 of our kids, and then gave lessons to them as well to go out and start learning the guitar, which they started in January, and now they're learning that as well. So a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
That does sound like fun. It does. And music's a big thing in our family as well. So
That's great.
It's wonderful how music can really enrich lives.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's fun, right?
No, it's always fun. These kids, they get crazy over here. They like to play together, and then they like to just start making up songs together, and they just that's what they enjoy most, is just sitting there and playing together.
It's great. So are we going to see an album from them, or?
Hey, that's a good question. My wife's in charge of that. I'm in charge of helping them practice and giving some vision for the group. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a lot different than it used to be music. If you want to make it, you do a couple YouTube videos and see how that goes. And so there's not nearly as much of a necessity to take a bunch of money and throw it right in there. You throw a little piece of money in there, do one recording, and then you can kind of ride that a little bit and start to create content that way. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, good luck with that. I hope they continue to enjoy it.
Thank you.
So let me ask you this. What parallels or what lessons can we learn from building successful families that can apply to the leadership world?
Well, so one of the biggest challenges that we find in the corporate world is communication. A lot of people say we don't communicate, we're in silos. In the family, that can be a challenge as well. You have everybody in the family trying to do something that is in their best interest, and so the key there is creating a unity around, hey, what's the clarity around what we want to accomplish as a family? What do we want to build here? If we can gain some clarity around that as a family, then we use that as a context for making decisions and for how we treat each other. And communication is a must. I just found out after, me and my wife just celebrated our 15-year anniversary. So it was just about 2 years ago that I figured out that she didn't like getting flowers for these events. And so there's a communication there, right? And I think that as we learn to communicate with one another, and as we learn to take accountability for really finding out the things that we don't know, if I never asked her, hey, do you like flowers better than plants? But if I'd asked her, then she would have told me, right? So it'd be very easy for me to say, well, you never told me that, but I never asked. So if we can figure out how to communicate with one another, if we can figure out how to get on a common theme of what it is that we want to accomplish as a family, and we can have the proper communication that allows us to learn those things, then we can get people rallied around it. And I would say if those were parallels, I'd say that works in business as well. You can't just go in there like, we want to tell our kids do that, and they say why, and then we say because we said so. When we can really get them around it by creating a compelling why, when we can really get them around it for seeing the vision of, okay, great, if I do this and I connect the dots with how that impacts, you know, our family life and what's going to happen, that's when you see the results. And that's really the same in business.
Awesome. And part of that is being able to recognize your own part, your own contribution, your own responsibility in that, and not just saying, well, like you said, well, you never told me that.
Exactly.
So it's your fault. Right?
Exactly.
If you don't want flowers, you need to tell me that. No. But being able to accept that, and that's something I've seen in you know, my business and professional career, as well as leaders who just expect you to know, right?
Right.
Or yeah, or if you don't do it my way, well, tough. Or
no doubt.
Right. And those are not the people we want to follow. It's the people who care enough to ask and be interested and find out other people's opinions and not their own.
Yep.
That inspire the loyalty and the passion to want to be involved.
For sure.
Would that be accurate?
Definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah. The experiences experiences lead to our beliefs that we have. And so, like you said, if we're giving them the right experience, then the beliefs will follow.
Sweet. Great. So, let me ask you, let's give you an opportunity to do a little plug for yourself. If someone wanted to work with you or with partners in leadership, and how would they go about doing that?
Great. No, yeah. So, shoot, I'll leave you my cell phone number. It's 951-265-6676. So you can call me. You can email me at abe.mills@ozprinciple.com, or you can just go to partnersinleadership.com and reach out to me that way. But yeah, I mean, we're there. We're here to help. The key here is we're here to serve. If we can figure out a way that we can help you by learning a little bit more about what it is that you're struggling with, then let's see how we can make it work for you.
Great. Thanks. So any viewers who are interested in learning more about leadership, whether that be in your business or just in life, sounds like Abe's got some great resources and some great information and things that you could use. Yes?
No doubt. I have it.
Sweet. All right. And we'll, when I put up the website post on this interview, we'll put the links and everything on there as well so that people can just click through and get to you.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Well, all right. So I guess we spent a little over the 20 minutes I promised you. So.
No worries.
But I sure appreciate you being on. It was great to finally be able to connect and make this work.
Sounds good, Gary. Yeah, anytime. Let me know. We can do it again.
Sweet. I may just take you up on that.
All right.
So let me give a little close for our viewers. This has been Thrive Talk. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, I'm Gary Schreiner. Our guest has been Abe Mills. Check Abe out with all the links we'll put in our write-up. And until next time, make it an awesome day.